wondering if you could talk a little bit about the trade deals, because I mean, we're hearing rumors that they're going to try to introduce TPP after the election. The lame duck. Yeah. Anyway, so maybe you could talk about your position on free trade, fair trade.
Sure.
How it affects
The Cool Act, just real quick, is a country of origin labeling on dairy products. Al Franken and I are doing it, so he's doing the Senate version, I'm doing the House version. And we've really just kind of, in fact, we're waiting to get Al Franken officially to figure out how they're dropping it. So it's really in its infancy, but it's just out there. On TPP, I could go really long, so I'm going to try to do it short. I'm on the working group to fight the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Fast Track deal. So every single week we meet. So this is Jan Schakowsky and Rosa DeLaura and Keith Ellison and George Miller and Henry Waxman and a bunch of folks. And we did 2 weeks of truth and trade. Every day we put something out to try to explain, some of the legal cases on bad previous deals and what could happen in a deal like this. Trans-Pacific Partnership, just for those who may not fully be up to speed, is the newest, the biggest, the baddest of the trade deals. It's kind of like NAFTA on steroids. About 24 different chapters. It's not just about trade. It affects environmental law, labor law, intellectual property, food safety, just about everything. And the president has been trying to get fast track passed through Congress so that it essentially can skip over Congress so that we would have limited debate and no chance to amend. So obviously, we wouldn't want to do that. For one, just we should have an ability to do that. But two, everything we can tell out of this is a really, really bad deal. I have looked at 2 chapters that I've read exclusively on this is probably back in August. So I don't know if there's been any significant changes at that point, but on the labor side and the procurement, those 2 specifically. We've had other people do food safety, environment, and all the rest. We've kind of split them up a little bit to look at them. But I don't have any indication that they'll be any better than any previous trade deal, which has cost us jobs and cost us in the environment and other things. But also I think it could be even worse, because how do you bring in Vietnam with a 28-cent minimum wage and virtually no labor standards into a trade deal that would make sense? I would agree with the free traders that we probably would help lift some wages globally. We're also going to depress our wages globally, but that's not only one small subset of it. So what's happened is the fast track, we've been able to so far make sure it's stopped in its tracks because no House Democrat got on the bill, and they were trying to get someone and no House Democrat would sign on. And we had 151 of us, I believe, House Democrats sign against fast track. Then another 20 have indicated to us that they also are against it. And the final 30 we've been working, and we've got some progress still there. We also have a parallel side. The Republicans, I think, had 27 people sign a similar letter on that. So, like I said, I could talk way too long on this. So let me try to bring it to, right now, because of that, they haven't tried to push it much farther. I've also been in some other working groups with the Ways and Means Committee that Sandy Levin's convened to go over this. I anticipate one of 2 things could happen. Oh, 3 things. One, they don't proceed with fast track. And they just had negotiations in Japan where things didn't go so well again. So I think they're having a harder time wrapping it up anyway. 2, you could have a different fast track proposal come out that tries to be better, but still giving up our rights and still the same trade deal. So, but we were watching that closely because some people who could say they're against the current fast track proposal could then also be for that. And then finally, they're saying, watch for the lame duck session. Yes. So that's more speculative. We're guessing could happen, but we have nothing concrete to point to that. But I could go literally for hours on fast track, and I won't, but this is something I work with literally every single week. For now, it's safe to say what the current version isn't going anywhere, but we are watching very closely to make sure an alternate version doesn't get introduced now, and then we'll keep watching for the lame duck session.
I have a question I know a number of us are wondering about, and hopefully this will be helpful for a lot of you.
I was out pretty quick because my license plate says 78. No one should be surprised where I was going to come from on that. But we had 2,200 contacts, 97% to 3%. Now, even though it was so overwhelming, I already took a stance on it. I can then point to that, and it was part of our broader conversations. I was in meetings with Rand Paul over this issue. Okay, so we were working together, building a very interesting coalition of people. But you got to build coalitions to deal with things. So I really do need those even for the volume and stuff, because I'll tell you, especially around, there's not so many people who are against climate change legislation that contact us because it's more, special interests. It's not real people. But when it comes to, that's the safest way to put it. All right. But when it comes to some issues around guns and other things, I probably still, even though, Madison, Dane County is the heart of the district, I probably still, to some degree, get maybe some more people who are against the positions I'm on and trying to have some safer laws, I think, around guns. And we appreciate still getting that contact. So I don't know if that's answering it, but in general, it's because nothing's been moving, the process has been a little different. So we don't have, corporate polluter A come in to meet with us to tell us about, why they need to do whatever they're doing, because they know nothing is moving. So it's not like they're coming around at that level. You from the district, and it's good to have those numbers.
Great. And I think we probably have time for the guy with the camera.
Okay.
Go for it.
On the issue of sustainable farming, you voted against H.R. 933, which has been nicknamed the Monsanto Protection Act. Can you please tell us more about that bill and why you voted against it?
I think, if I remember, almost all the Democrats voted against it, most other folks did too. And I think that also was part of another, like a budget proposal or something, if I remember right. So when people give me the numbers, I gotta admit, there's so many bills, it's there. But Monsanto Protection, I think, was on is that the GMO one that we're?
The labeling of food,
Yeah.
yep.
And just so you know, well, let me answer your question first. So on GMO labeling, a number of us obviously have concerns that we want to make sure that we have some control over it. I think, we do get some people come in and talk to us on GMO, and I think part of it is there are the folks who say, if I've got two different types of a corn seed I'm going to breed, and then there's folks who are doing very interesting scientific experiments, and they're trying to have us differentiate through that. But we thought, and even in the legislature, I think I've had a bill that we should be able to at least label so people know what they're eating. You should have that choice. That if you know something is going to have something genetically modified, especially if it's in the more science area than the more common ways of what a hybrid might be, you might not want to have that food. So it's again more of a consumer choice thing. However, I do want to say back to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, this is one of the issues that comes up there again too, because what could happen is if we pass the TPP and another country has a different rule around this, they could try to force us to conform to their law around labeling of foods. So this is one where Christine Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, and I have had a very long conversation about this specifically related to the labeling of GMOs. So watch that within that context, because I think certain bills like that aren't going to necessarily go through Congress unless they get attached to a budget. And that one I think might have been thrown on the last either continuing resolution or budget from last year, that particular provision. But watch the TPP, because there it's kind of a backdoor way that it may not talk explicitly about it, but it's going to open up the door to be sued, and very likely successfully sued by an outside company based on trade laws.
Okay, well, I think it sounds like one quick question.
You want
One
to-
quick
okay. All right.
softball. No, one quick question.
Yeah, don't do Trans-Pacific Partnership.
How about for the